As we're approaching harvest, I just thought it would be a good idea for you guys to know what the beans look like for what early beans coming off now, ready for wheat preparation. MO1s and some other ultra early beans are starting to come off. So I'll give you an idea of what the beans in the plot relative maturity to each other look like. Thought it would be beneficial. The 90Y90s, remember that's a bean that we use, an ultra early bean for white mold control. As you can see here, the beans are looking very nice as far as harvest goes. Should be ready to combine in the next little bit. I'm wondering if I've got a little bit of contamination as far as my planter goes. As we're moving forward into the YO1s, you can see why I think I have some contamination. Looking at the YO1s, they are much further along. As far as that goes, that nice white hue that they have. Another ultra early bean that helps to replace the family of MO1s. Look for, there is a T bean in this series as well, but we don't have it in the plot this year. Unfortunately, it wasn't here for planting time. So it gives you an idea as far as what we're looking at in the 91 YO1s. Today is the end part of September, the 28th. So it gives us an idea as to what they're looking like with a May 15th planting date. Moving forward into the Y41s, so remembering that this is our earliest cyst bean that we offer. Very few guys, if we don't have cysts, there's a lot better beans than this to grow in this heat unit range. So the Y41s, as you can see, they've got a little bit of lodging going on. They were very, very growthy here, and they're progressing quite nicely, dropping leaves as we can see. Lots of pods on there. Unless you want some ultra early beans, the next bunch of beans that we're talking about should be the ones that we should be looking at. You can see that these are, other than that little bit of lodging spot there, the rest of these beans have come in quite nicely. Still a little bit chewy to chew on, but I would be very surprised if they're not in the 14-15 range right now. Moving into the Y61s, this is the two beans we're going to talk about now from Pioneers, the ones that I'd love to see you guys grow. The Y61s, even though this was a later planting date compared to some of the other beans that went into the area, you can see these are progressing quite nicely. A lot of the Y61s around the area are pretty well ready to be combined right now. So yeah, there's just a couple leaves hanging on. Probably Monday, Tuesday, these guys would be ready to go. So about another 3-4 days, and they'll be ready to rock and roll, other than a couple stragglers. So, which I think is interesting is here we walk forward. These are my pride beans that I planted, some 1162s. These are supposedly a 1-1 bean. I've got them sandwiched in between two 1-6 beans, and you can see why. The difference in the two companies as far as rating goes. I've got them Y61s on one side, a 1-6 bean, and then the T16 is on the other side, another 1-6 bean. You can see the difference as far as maturity goes. These are quite a bit longer down the road to go compared to the Y61s. Looking at our P16T04Rs, they're stretched a little bit longer than the Y61s. Normally we see these guys about a day and a half later. I would say that we're probably going to be about 3 to 4 days later this year. Seems like a lot of the T-Series beans have extended their legs a little bit as far as maturity goes. Moving into our fuller season ones, if you're not going to grow wheat, this is a bean that I would really suggest if you're not growing wheat, this is one that you should be considering. We put it on some sands this year, in some other tough spots, just so Ron and I got a good feeling of what these beans can do. This is probably the most fertile spot that they are on, and man, there's a lot of beans out there. So they are a 1-9, so they are full season as far as if you're not putting in wheat. This is probably the earliest one that I would want you to grow. As you can see, there's a little bit left to go as far as maturity, but that is yield. So then it's the 92 Y12s, which some people have seen in the last couple of years that we've grown. If we're not putting in wheat, you can see the relative maturity from the 19s to the Y12s. You can see that they are a couple days later. Super growthy here this year. As you can see here up in the front and further back in the field, there is a little bit of lodging that happened. These suckers were up to my chest. So as far as full season beans, the P22s are one that you know, if you want to stretch your legs a little bit further, the P22s, they do have a ways to go here, but if you're not growing wheat, it's definitely one to consider, because these suckers can really crank out a lot of beans. There is a P24 as well, T-Series bean, which I'm going to try to grow some next year just to have a good feeling if we can make that for maturity. But let me get my feet wet on that one and we'll see how it goes. So that's our bean lineup for as far as our plot goes, to give you an idea of what it looks like just when early beans are coming off for wheat harvest.